Hello, this is Erin with the Joy in Pens and Paper, and it is time for a currently inked. So it is February, and I leaned in to the February vibes. Just going to give that little caveat right there. So I'm going to open up to the February page in my Hobonichi Hone, and I'm going to start off with my black and gray ink. So what I have decided to do for this year, and so far I am liking it, so I will continue into February, is I am using a black ink and a gray ink in my work. Let me say that differently. My planner, my the space where I keep track of my appointments, my tasks, things like that. And then I'm using all the colors in my Hobonichi journal, my Hobonichi Hone that I use for memory keeping and journaling. So let's get into it. For my black ink, I write on an angle, so I am going to turn this. Let me zoom in just a little bit. We're going to start with the black selection for this month. So I am using the Laban Rosa again. I quickly cleaned it out and re-inked it up because I really want to continue using this pen. It has made me very happy. And I'm going to grab my Galen Leather Everyday Notebook with Cosmo Air Light paper, and I'm going to write on that as well. This was the piece that I did not set up ahead of time. So sorry. That feels like 2 pages. Yep. That's not how I want it. Apologies as I get situated. All right, that will do. All right, so I'm just gonna color in a couple squares, and look how absolutely juicy that is. Oh, love it. All right, so this is a Laban Rosa in lilac with an extra fine, very juicy nib. And I had a sample of Laban Athena that I wanted to use, and this is from Van Ness, so it comes in a 4 ml size sample. You can see I still have a good amount left, and I used my new Inkapet to load that up. All right, now on the Cosmo Air Light, I can see somewhat of a green undertone in here. And this is Laban Athena. So that's my first pen and ink combination for February. All right, next up, and I brought this out because it has that lovely pink, obviously other colors, but it has some pink in it. This is a Noveler or Narwhal Nautilus in Grand Rhapsody. Ooh, there's some orange there. I have to clean out the cap. There we go. There's not orange ink in this, so that's Surprising. Look at that beautiful gray. That brings me so much happiness. All right, this is a Noveler Nautilus in Grand Rhapsody with a fine nib. And this is inked up with Colorverse Under the Shade. A really, really, really nice gray ink. All right, and now on to the Cosmo Air Light. Ooh, this one I see some pink undertones. And again, Colorverse. Under the Shade. Again, as it dries, that pink really settles down, kind of diminishes quite a bit, but there definitely was some pink. I can see it there too. And this, I can see the green. It's almost more of a dark green than a black. That's so fascinating. So fascinating how ink responds differently based on the pen. Or sorry, the paper. Goodness. All right, the next one is my Leonardo Momento Zero Grande 2.0 in Angel Skin with an elastic fine nib. And I'm so excited for this pairing. So this is inked up with Birmingham Pen Co. Pennsylvania Fieldstone, which if you have watched my previous videos from last year, you know that this was a staple in my Currently Inked for many, many, many months. So many months that I need to take a little break from it, but I'm very excited to be using it this month. And I'm going to put an EF, but it's really elastic fine, not extra fine. And because it's elastic, the nib has some bounce to it. I think, to me, this writes more like a medium. Oh, and I just love this murky pink. There we go. Now my next pen and ink pairing is a last minute addition, and I knew I wanted to use this pen this month, but then when I really kind of settled into my pen and ink, or the inks that I wanted to use, and then I started pairing them with some pens. This one didn't end up in the mix, and I couldn't do it. So I actually inked it up with Birmingham Pen Company, Pennsylvania Fieldstone. So I really wanted to use my Lami 2000 again this month. This is my newest pen, and I am still getting acquainted with it. So I couldn't go the whole month without using it. So my last minute decision was just to throw Pennsylvania Fieldstone in it, and let's see how that goes. So this is a Lami 2000, and this also has an extra fine nib, non-elastic fine and extra fine, and it's inked up with Birmingham Pen Co. Pennsylvania Fieldstone. And I think it's just so fascinating, the difference between the two, the really wetter nib versus the Lami 2000 extra fine. And I just predict I'm really going to enjoy being able to compare the two this month. So Lami 2000 extra fine with Birmingham Pennsylvania and this is an ink that I love so much that I actually bought a second bottle because I was worried that by the time I used up my first bottle they would no longer be producing this color. So I just went ahead and got a second one. My next pen is the Pilot Decimo in Champagne with a fine nib. And let me tell you, picking this pen up after the last few pens that I have held in my hands over the last couple of minutes, this feels so incredibly light. So incredibly light. It's fascinating. It's a wonderful click pen. And I knew I wanted a slightly more saturated ink for this. One of the inks that I think the first ink that I used in this was Ferris Wheel Press Madame Mulberry, and it was so light with the fine nib. And so I didn't want to repeat that. So this is Pilot Decimo in Champagne with a fine nib. And this has Colorverse Brunch Date, which I think is a really nice pairing. I really like it. And I really had to fight against my instincts because I wanted to put Colorverse Brunch Date in the Leonardo Momento. But I've already used that ink in this pen, and I really wanted to see what Pennsylvania Fieldstone looked like with this wetter nib. So yeah, just a little glimpse into my brain and some of my decision making. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, the next one, I'm going to agitate a little bit because it is a shimmer ink. So this is another Noveler or Narwhal, and this is a collaboration between Noveler and Galen Leather Co. And they have this beautiful rose gold demonstrator pen. smooth like butter. Love it. So I'm going to do GL for Galen Leather Co. And this has a medium nib, which is why I wanted a shimmer ink in it. And this is inked up with Wearingeul 12th Night. Beautiful. Now this ink goes down really light, but I feel like as it dries, it gets darker, a little bit more saturated. And I didn't fill this. I filled it maybe halfway. You know, the piston fills, they can hold a good amount of ink, and so I just wanted to make it more likely that I would actually go through this in the month of February. And February is International Correspondence Writing Month, or NaNoWriMo. So I imagine I will be sending out just a few more letters. I cannot do a letter a day. I'm just not there right now. And so I'm not going to pretend that I am and then set myself up to be disappointed. So I think I'm going to set a goal for maybe 3 letters, and then I have some current pen pals that I want to make sure that I'm responding to, just to foster those relationships. So my next pen is the Twsbi Diamond 580 in rose gold. This is a white and rose gold, and this comes with a rose gold steel nib, and it is an extra fine nib. And this one I selected a sample, and it is the Sailor Ink Studio 252, and there's only a tiny little bit left. And I actually, to fill this, I actually used an ink miser in order to get the ink in. So it was a fun experience. The base color of this is very similar to Wearingeul 12th Night, a little bit darker, I think. But what a beautiful ink. There's a little bit of chromo shading coming through in this swatch. There's a little bit of blue in there, which again just reminds me a bit of Wearingeul 12th Night. All right, and the last one, and this one is a pop, so get ready. I surprised even myself with this one. So this is a Platinum Century 3776, and this has a fine nib. All right, you ready for this? If anyone wants to take a moment and timestamp and take a guess for what ink they think is in this pen, I will give a moment to pause for that. Okay, let's go. I said a moment. That was a moment, right? Ooh, look at that. Outside of swatching, this is probably the brightest color I've ever written with. All right, so platinum. You still have time to put your guess in there if you haven't. And this is a very fine nib. I don't know that I fully appreciated just how fine the platinum nibs run. This is a fine, and yeah. And so this is inked up with Sailor, 50 States, Indiana. And so I had kind of over the course of the last week been brainstorming my pen and ink combinations, and then Manda from Inksplat is posting her videos again. I'm so excited that she's back. I had been looking for videos from her because I noticed that she started the ink vent and then did not, and that's fine. But she did a currently inked, and one of her pens is inked up with Sailor, 50 States, Indiana, and that kind of solidified it for me. I had it on the list. My list was greater than what I wanted to ink up, but I was like, nope, that ink is going in a pen. I'm doing it for this month. There we go. All right, so that is it for this month. It is one more pen than I typically do because I added in the Lami 2000 at the end there. But that's okay. That's okay. I think this is going to be good. I certainly have enough. I leaned super hard into the pinks. A lot of blush pinks, a little bit of pop there, and then I really like the black and gray that I have this month, and I'm really excited to be spending another month with the Laban Rosa. I'm really excited to be spending another month with the Lami 2000. I'm excited to bring back a couple of pens that I hadn't written with in a few months, such as the Pilot Decimo and the Twsbi Diamond 580 and my the Platinum Century. Did I use that in December? I think I did not. I think I used it in November with Diamond Brandy Snap. So I'm so excited to get this month started, and yeah, it'll be nice to flip through all my journaling and see all the pink and all the different shades and so on and so forth. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're inking up for this month. Did you lean into the February vibes? Are you going a different route? I'm already, even though I'm so excited for February, I'm already thinking about what it's going to be like in March. I love this hobby. I'm so excited. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and I hope that you have a wonderfully productive day.